Short-term lending is really being able to place capital in the hands of a borrower in a short space of time for a shorter term. Typically loans would run from say 1 to 6 months. Some transactions may go as far as 12, but you're really dealing with solving a client's problem in a fairly immediate time frame. Probably 80% of the transactions we write are written for SMEs, small to medium enterprises, okay? And so cash flow working capital requirements probably form the bulk of the nature of our transactions. They can be as small as $30,000, but probably they tend to be around about that $250,000 to $300,000 range. But we're happy to write any transaction essentially from that lower amount up to say $500,000 and large amounts on first mortgages. The principal opportunity for the broker would be it provides an alternative revenue stream for them, and it's a revenue stream that can be realised for them in a short space of time. And when I say a short space of time, I'm talking about 3 to 10 days from the time the application is received by us to the time the transaction settled, which is a fraction of the time that would transpire under a normal first mortgage transaction with a bank, for instance. It's going to present as being expensive, but it is cheap within the competitive nature of our market. I mean, we have a situation right now where home loans are sort of being pitched at 4.5 to 5%, but not everybody gets through the gatekeeper on that transaction, and it's not every style of transaction that's going to suit. Our rates typically for a second mortgage or a caveat, which is the majority of these style of loans, are around that sort of 17% mark. Short-term lending has been dominated by private lenders, and private lenders are, in many cases, a law unto themselves. And there probably is a tendency where people are presented with transactions that have an element of risk there to go and charge for the risk, but some will charge disproportionately for that risk. My view is that there is no need to be charging exorbitant rates for a client to solve a problem. It can come at a reasonable price because the transaction must work for both the lender and for the borrower. The leap isn't that significant, whereas short-term lending is still mortgages, so we're in the same gene pool, okay? It might not be their core business, but what we can do, and probably where we're different from most, is that we do offer a full back-end support for brokers. In my view, most brokers tend to be time poor and under-resourced. So to have a facility where they can pretty much give us the transaction and we will run full interference for it, for the client, do the administration and the follow-up with no diminution in their commission and still providing the client with the end gain that he needs, is probably a strong benefit. This is pure transaction income. Once it's settled, the transaction is done and dealt with, and there are no clawbacks whatsoever.